Sure. So I'm Mary Jo Cooper, and I'm the president of Cooper Compliance. We are um, have two areas in our company. One is we provide professional services to help electric utilities and generators to comply with the North American Electric Reliability Standards. These standards were developed to ensure a reliable bulk electric grid so that you can have steady power. Okay. And so the regulations were developed in 2005 under the Energy Policy Act. And this was the result of the, in New York, there was a big outage that took out a good portion of the eastern United States. And so the regulations were adopted in 2007, where entities have to comply with these regulations. There are things everywhere from cybersecurity to making sure that the system operators are trained and have good communication capabilities, monitoring the frequency and the voltage of the system. So the goal here is that these regulations are required because the electric utility industry started going, what I want to say is it independent from, they're no longer big utilities. And so independent power producers will want to produce their power as cheap as possible. Transmission providers will want to get as much money as possible. So you need to have regulation to make sure everybody's doing the right thing, keeping their generators in good condition, maintaining them, doing vegetation maintenance, all sorts of different things that in order to comply with the standards. We help electric utilities, municipals, and generators comply to these standards, documenting their procedures or policies, providing them training, helping and participating in developing new standards as required. Like, for example, in Texas, there's going to be some new cold weather preparedness standards. They existed already in Texas. However, they weren't enforced as much as they will be in the future. So anytime you have a big outage, there's new regulations. So our company helps these people comply with the standards, and we also have software. So we have developed software on SharePoint. It's what you would call governance, risk, and compliance, GRC software tool to help ensure internal controls are in place to make sure that everybody's collaborating and working together and doing their work on time. So that's what we do here at Cooper Compliance.
All right, thank you for your answer. That was really interesting. I didn't know it had such a rich history. But could you tell us what drew you into this field and how did you enter the field initially?
Yeah, so I was initially interested in electrical engineering and started working at the California Independent System Operator that runs the electric grid. And I was working in the engineering division, monitoring to make sure we had enough generation to meet loads. And this comes back in 2003 when we were having major blackouts. So my job there was to help maintain enough capacity to serve load. Then shortly after that, the NERC standards came into effect. It was something new. They didn't exist before. I had worked on some of the voluntary standards that the electric utilities use, but not these enforceable ones. So I was interested in entering this field because it was something new, something challenging. I always felt like I knew a little bit about everything, but was never a master of anything until I got into NERC compliance and realized that you have to be a jack of all trade, understand how electricity works, how the markets work, and understanding what the concerns are for the distribution providers up to the generators and then the transmission providers. So it's a collaboration of different areas in the supply chain of electricity. So turned out that it was a perfect market for me to enter in. And I've been in it ever since, from the beginning. And still now, our company's serving a whole lot of electricity providers in the United States and Canada. Mm-hmm.
All right, that's awesome that you kind of went out of your comfort zone to enter this field. How would you recommend someone start to enter this career, such as courses, internship, skills, or mindsets?
I really think that students from high school, you're coming from high school, really focus on getting a bachelor's degree. And I would get a bachelor's degree in science. I would also start trying to get internships as soon as possible. You know, the market becomes very competitive. And if you have on your resume not only a good solid degree, but also have that internship, you're going to have the ability to get a job that pays more as well, quicker. I also would recommend, if you're really interested in doing compliance work, is consider getting certifications from like the Institute of Internal Auditors, or in cybersecurity, there's a whole lot of different certifications that you can get in cybersecurity. Okay.
What would a typical workday or work week look like?
Um, it can be pretty crazy. So, you know, like I said, you have to be a jack of all trades and be able to understand each part of the puzzle. So it's a constant learning. So I'm somewhere in between writing procedures, training staff or hiring staff, getting them, and then we develop training programs for our clients. We're documenting how they comply, so sometimes just interviewing them, and then also being able to be creative and develop ways to implement internal controls into the person's or the company's organizations to make sure things are on time, that you can get the different divisions to collaborate together, because you're going to find a lot of silos in most companies that you work with in between departments and as well as people. And that's where you have the breakdown in regulatory compliance. That's where things fail. So that's where we came in with our product to help that collaboration electronically. So there's my day is kind of crazy a lot of times. You're multitasking. I'm sometimes working on 2 or 3 different projects at a time. So it's very interesting. Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. I can tell you play a lot of major roles in your occupation. Um, what current issues and trends in this field should I know or be aware of if I'm interested in entering the field?
Mostly I would say that the cybersecurity is the greatest focus right now. It's the biggest risk and threat to our electric utilities. And so there's a huge amount of opportunity in cybersecurity. So I encourage folks to look into that area as well. Yep.
All right. Can you go through some of your favorite aspects and your least favorite aspects of your job?
Well, I think my favorite aspects are, you know, kind of thinking about what do you like? What is your personality? What do you desire to do? You know, do you like to help people? Do you like to teach people? You know, what are the things that you like to do? Well, it turns out that I really do like helping people. I like being creative and coming up with designs and solutions. There's some people in this industry who like to just tell other people what to do. We like to go to that next level and not tell them what to do, but help them get there and be able to listen very carefully. You know, this is one of the skill sets you're going to have in this, is being able to listen, put together what the person's trying to say, because a lot of times people don't really know how to express themselves. And so you can take that and put it down on paper, and gather the right information that they can prove what they're doing. So I think because I get to be a little bit of a teacher, and as well as a designer, it works out. You know, it's something that I really love doing. Now, of course, the least favorite part of the job is the HR people's issues. So never like to have problems with people, but you just have to deal with it sometimes. Yeah.
That's really intriguing, and it goes back to how you're talking about how you had so many roles. I think that's really interesting that
Mhm.
you get to be kind of logical and creative in this job.
Yeah.
But how does working in compliance management, how has it changed you as a person, and have you gained any traits because of it?
Yeah, I would say I have to, working with people and different personality types is one of the major things. It's not just dealing with my staff who you have to, which is the least favorite part, but you're also dealing with engineers and um, general managers, directors, executives, all the way up to, up the chain down to, somebody that's going out there trimming trees or doing maintenance at a substation. So understanding different people and learning how to be patient. I think that's probably the biggest skill that I've gained is being able to be patient with people and let them come to terms of what I need them to do at their own pace. Hmm.
And if you could do it all over again, would you choose the same path for yourself? And if not, what would you change?
I might. I think it's important to learn about different options. You're going to decide what's going to make you the happiest. Is it going to be organizing people, writing, teaching people, healing people? I think back in high school when I was your age, I thought at one point that I would like to go into the medical industry, and then I decided that um, it, I couldn't stand blood, and I didn't think I could give somebody a shot. Well, then my dog got sick and I had to give my dog shots. It wasn't so bad. So having that open mind and, and recognizing that the best thing is went back and said, get a bachelor's degree in a science because life will take you in different areas. So getting that area of focus, you'll never know what turns out. The world's going to change, and we didn't have regulations in electric utility industry when I was your age. So things are going to be different. Just being ready to move and take on a new opportunity. Never be afraid to do something different. Yep.
All right, and if you had any last pieces of advice or general comments you'd like to share for aspiring compliance managers, could you give them out?
Um, I think just really keeping your eye on what's the greatest risks. Compliance is about resolving risks. And right now, cybersecurity is the greatest risk. We, our environment is our greatest risk. So there's lots of different areas that you can go into and really just focus on what is the problems and how can they be resolved. So that's what I would focus on. Mhm.
All right, well, that concludes the interview. Thank you so much for your time, and you honestly gave some really interesting and thorough answers, and I'm sure there's so many high schoolers that will probably benefit from watching this.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for considering me.
All right,
And
thank you. Bye.
bye bye.